ladies and gentlemen, do we have 41 flavors? Let's find out. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Spring with Autumn. And it's a test, but it's a little bit of a little bit exploratory, a little bit informational, all the above. So I really appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And I just want you, you'll see what I'm on about here in just a second. So not to worry. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm just going to give a few words to our thanks to our sponsors, our viewers like you. And I will be right back. All right, guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I just want to say hello to everybody that's in the stream. And we'll start with Tyrant's Bane, TDOA. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And I do have a little bit of fan action going on here. So hopefully, you'll be okay with that. You'll survive that. And also Nick Smith is here along with DJ Vision Barnett. Thank you guys so much for coming in for the test, and the test is on the 41 flavors. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And so, when you think of 41 flavors, I mean, I don't know if you guys are of the ladies and gentlemen, do we have anybody from the Baskin Robin era here, or maybe there's at least another one. This is a little bit nostalgic, but of course, by now you know that California is in the throes of a recall election, and so I'm sure you're aware of that at least. So that kind of brings me to what I'm on about on this one, because of course social media and these platforms have become, looks like we're dealing with some state sponsored blackouts, so yeah, and just FYI, I have received my first warning, and that was, if you weren't in the last stream, it was related to, it was somebody else's video that I actually played just for kicks. And of course, I got a warning, like I will be, I guess if I don't knock it off, I'll see you guys at the gulag, I guess, in the near future. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And I want to say hello to Nick Smith. Thank you so much for coming in. So let me just have a quick look here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm going to share the screen with you. So I'm going to bring you to what I'm on about, and I will be sharing that with you. All right. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thanks so much for tuning in. Oops. So this is not what we're doing. I apologize. Wrong screen there. But yeah, that's why this is a test. You know, we get to see what works and what doesn't work, because this is also a part. I also do this as a have you seen this is also what this is about. So we kind of do that. So I'm going to keep going here. So thanks so much for everybody that's tuning in right now. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to keep going here. Thank you so much, Tyrants Bane, TDOA. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. All right. So in this case, this is have you seen this? And the 41 flavors I'm referring to would be the recall candidate list that has, it looks like we've got kind of got a bit of a mess going already, a whole mess going already with this whole recall candidate list. Looks like some names, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what you think here. Just a second. All right. So when it comes to mind, I'm thinking, well, they said we had 41 candidates, but I think some people are missing. I think we've kind of dropped significantly. So that brings me to the next question. Who's missing from the list? Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And if you guys at any time can submit your own guesses out there, I really appreciate it for you guys taking the time and humoring me on the test. Actually, I was hoping that I had given you guys the full screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull up the list, and you guys can feel free to submit whatever names that you anticipate seeing on the list. And if you want to yak it up, we can yak it up on that. Hello, Callie Unknown. How are you? Thanks so much for tuning in, for coming in. So what I'm going to do is, I'm probably going to put the link out there for some actual, engagement. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share another screen with you so we can actually have a look at the list. So for those of you that are just coming in, we are having a look at who's missing from our 41 flavors, our candidate list. That's the recall list. That is the subject of this. Have you seen this? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the actual list with you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much. If you are coming in, or if you're not sure if you're coming in, I really appreciate you so much for considering, because as I always say, you guys always have choices out there. So I'm going to actually share a screen with you, and it's going to be, we're going to have our recall candidates. We're actually going to have a look at the list. So give me a 1. If you cannot see this, then let me know that this is not quite coming through at a 5x5 or whatever your metrics, your radar is, whatever system you're using to evaluate this. So according to this was released on July 21st. Well, on the 17th, rather. Let me get it together. This is July 17th, 2021. Okay, this is from the State of California Secretary of State, which is Shirley N. Weber. That's Dr. Weber, if you didn't know. So according to this, to all candidates for the office hereinafter indicated, this notice complies with provisions of the Elections Code requiring the Secretary of State to notify each candidate for voter-nominated office of the name, address, and, if applicable, ballot designation and party preference of each person having filed for the same office. A certified list of candidates will be available on July 21st, 2021. So maybe I am jumping the gun just a hair, but, of course, there's a little bit of, backlash and a little bit of firestorm, and everybody calm down. Maybe this isn't quite the 41 flavors. But according to this, is candidates for September 14th, 2021, California gubernatorial recall election. So as you can see here, you have someone, I guess the person is going by the name of Angeline, and no party preference is associated here. So, look at that. I'm not going to read all of these names, but there are some names on here that I recognize. The ones that I do recognize We can talk about those. Of course, you've got others here. Some of the ones that I've heard in the mix, the John Cox. John Cox, I've heard that name. He's running as a Republican on this ticket here. Kevin Faulconer, which is a former SD mayor. Some of these candidates have run before and were not successful, so they're going for it again. I'm not familiar with Ted Gaines. Let's see. We're going to keep going here. And then, of course, you have Caitlyn Jenner. She's running as a Republican. I think she's actually even filming some type of reality something or a movie or something in Australia. I'm not sure where you are with that one, but that's that. So we're just look at the list. You know, I'm trying to go through slow enough so those of you that are, whether you're familiar with these candidates or whether you are a Californian yourself, you know, I don't typically dedicate things to California, but I just think it's becoming a little bit of a Peyton place around here. Some of these names, Steve Lodge. He's a retired homicide detective, I think. At least that's what it says here. He's running as a Republican. So you can see you either have, it seems like we have quite a bit of a trend here. We've got quite a few Republicans or no party preferences listed here. Let's see, what else do we have? And Daniel Mercury. I did mention Daniel Mercury once before. I was familiar with that. So apparently he's either a farmer / business owner. He's running as a Republican here. There's quite a few names on here that I don't see, but I will reveal my names at the end of this. So this list is it's looking a little bit anemic, I would say, compared to the number that we talked about 100 plus candidates before. So we got, originally we had more than 100 flavors, and now we're down to this. But however, we'll see who survives. Anthony Trimino is another name that seems to have quite a bit of buzz in the in social media right now. I've seen him on Brandon Tatum's show, and of course you've seen a lot of the claws come out, whether people are tuning into California Underground, So there you go. So those are your candidates. You have 5 pages. Some of these names I'm not familiar with, but I will tell you right away, there are some names that are missing here. Now that I cannot deny. Hello, everybody. And it's Dr. Fish. Hi, Dr. Fish. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So we're going to talk about just a little for a second who's actually missing from this, who's thrown their name into the ring and they're actually missing from the list. And I've known of some others that have been on the trail and they're not on the list right now. So I'm going to read a few comments, starting with Callie Unknown. She says, none of these candidates are adequate. Ugh. Really wanted Rick Grinnell to run. All right, so just 1 second here. We will revisit this in just a second. I want to say hello to everybody that's in the stream. Thanks so much for coming in. All right. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And also, so for those of you that are just now joining us, thank you so much for tuning in. So we are looking for, now I might open this up just a hair. I'm not sure if anybody's going to bite, but I'll open it up anyway, just so you can see, and you can submit your own name or either make some level of remarks on who you think is actually missing. So have you seen this is what I entitled this one. And we're talking about the recall candidate list. So I said we started out with, we were primed for 41 flavors is what I'm saying, but our list looks a little bit more anemic. So I said, who's missing? So right now we're going to get into that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming in for the test. So with that said, in the spirit of tests, let's see. I'm going to drop the link here and see if you guys, I'm going to submit one name, and it's actually, there's 2 names actually I'm going to submit. One name would be, I don't see Major Williams on here, And I also don't see the latest name that's been added to this mix, and it's Larry Elder. So, according to the notice that I read just a second ago, that there's going to be another list on the 21st of this month, which is only a few days away. So we're talking Wednesday is when I guess another list. I don't know how many rounds are we going to go until the official list is in place. But so I'm going to go to a liner that will actually give us some insight, and looks like even elders fans, I guess the people on Road Rage are trying to figure out what's going on here. And who else's name did you guys not see there? So I just have to drop this link out there. Who else's name did you not see? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to that liner. And thank you guys once again for coming in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So let's go over to the line in which we are on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. So we're going to go over and let's see what the editorials, what we have here. Okay, so we have, this is coming from nymag.com, and this is Elder rises, Jenner falls as Newsom recall election gets real. So we'll go into that one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will give you the full screen on this one. And I will make a comment on that Cali Unknown. I think this is pretty, it looks a little bit anemic, right? Okay, so it looks like we have something from a penman, Ed Kilgore. All right, according to this, the long shot Republican effort to recall California Governor Gavin Newsom got a jolt of energy this week as popular conservative radio talk show host Larry Elder joined the field, which officially closed on Friday of, quote, replacement candidates, end quote, who are competing for the job if voters give the incumbent the boot. Veteran California political observer George Skelton is among those who think Elder may immediately jump to the top of the nearly 80 candidates who qualified for the second ballot in question in the September 14th recall election. The first is whether Newsom should be removed from office, and the second, which only matters if the first is answered affirmatively by a majority of voters, is who should then become governor. Elder is well known among conservatives because his nationally syndicated 3-hour talk show is broadcast daily in LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Sacramento, and several smaller California cities. He's heard in all 50 states and 200 markets with a national audience of 1.5 million. He also has 2.5 million followers on social media. Look at that social media credit score, right? Gotta have that. So he has high California name ID and a national fundraising base. He's also not exactly a cookie cutter right-wing gabber. He supported Trump in 2020, but has a libertarianish background. And as a longtime Black Republican figure who grew up in South Central Los Angeles, he is neither an opportunist nor a stuffed shirt country club type. Until Elder's entry into the race, the top Republican replacement prospect was former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, who has a moderate reputation but backed Trump's reelection. Noisier but less viable Republicans included near perennial candidate John Cox, who was trounced by Newsom in the 2018 general election. Cox has drawn some attention and derision for campaigning with a rent-a-grizzly. The biggest Republican underachiever in the field is former Olympic and reality show star Caitlyn Jenner, who infuriated many fellow transgender folk by supporting bans on transgender participation in women's sports. That position, however, hasn't won her much love among regular MAGA types, where transphobia is very common. Love that. Now comes word Jenner is headed to Australia to appear in a new season of Celebrity Big Brother and may not make it back to California in time to vote in, much less campaign for the recall election. Major Democrats are boycotting the replacement election on grounds that becoming candidates might undermine Newsom's ability to make the whole thing moot by winning on the first ballot question. That's still the most likely outcome, giving the 2-1 Democratic registration advantage in the Golden State. There haven't been any public polls in a while, but most earlier surveys showed opposition to the recall holding a comfortable lead. But the incumbent had a small setback when the Secretary of State, backed up by a judge, ruled that Newsom's campaign had failed to file the paperwork necessary to ensure that his party designation appeared on the recall ballot. And George Skelton believes Democratic turnout could lag while Republicans march to the polls for a rare shot at a statewide win. They haven't had any since 2006. Another cloud on the horizon for Newsom is the resurgence of the CV-19 cases in parts of the state, notably in LA County, which has just reimposed an indoor mask order. His close ally, Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis, set the recall election date earlier than had been originally expected, presumably to take advantage of good summer vibes over the reopening of the state, as reflected in steadily rising approval numbers for Newsom. It's possible that could change by September. If so, and Republicans get energized by Elder or just by Newsom's misfortune, it could get interesting. Okay, so yeah, there you've got a little bit of I don't know, some interesting interesting things going on there. Oh, Callie Unknown has a comment for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And Callie Unknown says, I could come up and join you, but I've been sick all week. Lol, I'm in no shape to be on live. Well, Callie Unknown, thank you so much for being here with us in spirit and even in the chat room. We appreciate your presence. Thank you so much. AZ Infidel says, good evening. Hello. It's late. I know it's a late test, but I just had to come in and just, yeah. I'm going to be honest. I'm actually doing this stream because for one, I've wanted to do a stream, but for two, I can't, I'm not getting into certain things right now. And yeah, so I guess this is, yeah, so, we'll see what happens. To me, it's kind of a mess. I think that if the process, if these people don't take this seriously enough, I mean, Newsom didn't take this seriously enough to get his paperwork completed, then maybe he will fall on his own sword, so to speak. And not to mention, the way he's run this state. And Callie says, I actually think Cox won the last governor race, but they stole it. Imagine that. And AZ Infidel's here. How are you, AZ? It's nice to see you. Thanks so much for coming in. And she says, still though, Cox ain't it. No. I'm just not. I don't know. It just gets to be. I don't know. I think because of the. I don't know. I think because it's. I think there's because of the level of corruption is. I just don't think that this is going to work. It's going to take a miracle. Okay, so I don't mean to be negative Nancy or Debbie Downer, but I just think it's going to take a miracle. And Callie Unknown's coming in with LOL. Gavin will not have a D next to his name, right? An oversight by a lawyer, they say, but I think they just never thought he would get recalled. Yeah, he was doing his kingship. He was doing very kingly things. He had so many kingly things to do. He didn't have time to put his party affiliation or whatnot on there. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think this is going to be interesting to watch. So I will say I did see some people that were not on that 41 flavors as I gave it at the beginning of the stream, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, but there's nothing. I don't know if anybody. I think I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Anthony Trimino. But then I've also seen a lot of people hit Larry Elder's page with a lot of questions about, CV-19 and will he, eliminate, mandates and this kind of a bit. Those are the kinds of questions that he's getting. But even in some of these interviews that I've seen other people do, they're not really asking. To me, they're not really asking any, real questions. They're giving, to me, they're giving softball questions in some ways. And because I think, well, Trimino has been, as I said, on Brandon Tatum's show. And of course, to me, that was almost like, to me, his interview was more of a, get to know Anthony Trimino, like kind of an introductory kind of an interview. But I don't know if people got a chance to ask the questions that they really wanted to ask. I think he took some questions, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's not. This is not. There's nothing. I don't think anybody's excited about this. I think it's more like pins and needles. That's what I'm thinking. So I might have some footage from Elder himself, so he can, he speaks for himself a lot better than I do. So I'll share that with you. AZ Infidel, you are most generous. Well, I had just had to tell you guys, I received my first. I've had 2 seasons on YouTube, and I got my first flag, and I guess the next, what was it? I was threatened with a week in the gulag if I don't, if I come back with any more naughty misinformation or share anybody else's naughty misinformation. So yeah, so that, but this is not too Mickey Mouse. This is real time stuff, and I don't know. I heard a rumor once before that that California and New York are basically the bookends of the country, and the model that the progressives and the liberals have. So the rest is just flyover country. So I thought maybe you guys just tune in, hold on for the ride. Hello to Latin Patriot. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's see. How about we pull up a little bit of I might pull up a little bit of Elders Blast. So with that, I'm going to take a quick little break, and I will be right back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on the test, and I will be right back. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys. I thank you guys so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to give you a response from Elder himself, and give you the response, so that I don't know if you guys are around here, if you are Californians yourself, but he has a message for the road ragers, as well as anybody that might be supporting him in his quest in this recall election. So we'll get into that. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to take you over to, I'm going to try to play this message from Larry Elder. And yes, I will say Larry has, he has a presence, of course, on social media. And and of course, they made sure they got those social media creds in there for him. So I'm going to go ahead and share this screen with you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Latin Patriots here, AZ Infidels here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You guys coming in on the test. And there is a link out there. So if you have any commentary on these things, you can get it in. Okay. So according to this, if you're supporting Larry Elder, You can go over to electelder.com and you'll find out. So actually what I want to do is I want to take you to the previous one in which he is trying to explain what's happening with his appearance on the actual ballot here on the list of candidates here. So I'm going to give you some full screen on this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, guys, give me a 1 if you can hear this. And sometimes this happens where you don't quite get the audio here. But I think he's basically saying, calm down. I'm going to be on the official ballot. And
list was not certified.
There we go.
Expect to be on the ballot when the certified list comes out. So stay the course. Go to electelder.com, electelder.com, because we've got a state to save. Stay tuned. Hey, road ragers, calm down. That list was not certified. I fully expect to be on the ballot when the certified list comes out. So stay the course. Go to electelder.com, electelder.com, because we've got a state to save. Stay tuned. Hey, road ragers.
Okay. So as you can see, he's speaking to the 41 flavors or however many flavors we've had throughout this whole process. But it looks like he came back with another update. And I'm going to do some comments here in just a second. I really appreciate you guys so much for coming on. Thank you. I really appreciate the support around here. And let's see, we have one more. This one is not playing.
Hey, Eldorados. At 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to be on the Steve Hilton Show about my decision to enter the election to recall this incompetent, entitled Governor Gavin Newsom. We got crime, we have rising homelessness, cost of living out of control, and the way this guy shut down this state in a more severe way than any of the other 50 states, he's got to go. Go to electelder.com, electelder.com, and check out the Steve Hilton Show in just a few minutes, because we've got a state to save.
All right, guys. So there you go. I apologize for that. However, as you can see, that Elder is, he's giving a statement on his position and what he anticipates, where he will be by, I guess, Wednesday. So I told you guys earlier that right away I didn't see, what was it? Still no sound. It's a little bit laggy, so maybe it's caught up. But I think it says now I'm back. Okay, that's a good thing. So I guess we'll see what happens on Wednesday, who's actually on this list. But I don't know. I think it's, dare I say, is it kind of a nail biter for people, for Californians? I have no idea. We'll see what happens. But people don't really look excited about the situation. They just look like more nervous, and with all the new taxes and all the things that they want to implement. I mean, it's kind of crazy. All right, so who do we have? Cali Unknown says we are screwed here in California. She says that with a... Thanks so much for that, Cali Unknown. And let's see, who else do we have? So I got some 5x5 support and not support around here. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So yes, I appreciate you guys for tuning in on that. We will see what happens, what's going on. So I want to share this screen with you. This is the last one. So, if there's a process to this whole thing, and I'm not, like I said, I have never run for office. and I don't do a whole lot of advocating for it on this show, which it's important to do. But, I guess if you fall short on the process, then you will be, you will not make the ballot. You will not make the list. So in this instance, this was Larry's tweet, apparently. It says, we submitted every document required by the Secretary of State and Los Angeles County Registrar of Voters on Friday. I fully expect to be on the final certified list of candidates. And yes, so that's pretty much where we were already. But I'm not sure what happened to, this list. It still looks a little bit anemic to me and not very exciting. Not very promising. Promising is what I want to say. Not, exciting is not the right word. And Old Head Deuce is here. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Old Head Deuce. All right. So I did put the link out there. I'm going to run a couple of infomercials and I'll be right back. And there's probably going to be some updates on your community tab very soon because of the threats of gulag and all this stuff around here. We might start doing a little bit more. We might pick up the presence a little bit more on some of these alternatives because there's just way too much going on. And people are getting shut down and, the next thing I know, I'll see one of you guys, at the gulag. So I'm going to run a couple of infomercials, and I'll be right back. Thanks so much for tuning in. Guys, I really appreciate you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. And do I have comments here? I don't, but yeah. So, there's a lot of things going on, and I've had to pick, and I'm picking these, these topics and things to discuss, and it's still on a self-censoring kind of a level, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Cause I said, we've got state-sponsored blackouts, coming our way. So that's going to put a little bit of a hose on us. So we'll see what happens. But I guess hopefully this wasn't too Mickey Mouse for you on your Sunday/Monday. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 41 flavors. All right, thank you so much. And it looks like I have a comment here from Callie Unknown. And she says, wonder if the election systems have been properly certified in CA. Last I checked, they weren't. HAVA violations. Not sure about that. My first inclination was to go to the FEC in order to just kind of to see what's going on there and just going forward, because of course there's lots of editorials out there that are being printed, and of course the left or the progressives are saying, oh well, this was, this is the Trump supporters, the right wingers are the ones that are, they want this recall. nobody else wants this recall. So I guess that's why he didn't bother to get his paperwork, done accurately or whatnot. So he was just doing his kingly duties. But I do remember just a couple of months ago, when they were talking about, states reopening and whatnot, that he talked about specifically that he wasn't exactly going to be relinquishing the state emergency powers. And imagine that. How would, with the variant issues going on, how would he know that he would not be? Why was he so certain that he needed to hang on to those emergency powers? So I'm not sure. The only thing that I know that he's been touting this whole time, he's talked about some type of surplus or whatever. But less than 9 months ago, we were in the black. We were in the red. Sorry, we were totally in the red. So I don't know how you go from being in the red to in the black in such a short period of time. And then, the eligibility. What is it? This California, this stimulus thing that he's doing. I don't know how. Where does it come from? I just. Who knows? But we'll see what happens. I really appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more break and I'm going to come back and say salute to everyone. And then we're going to get out of here as we're coming in under 43 minutes. And I will be right back. Hey guys, it's Black Spring with Autumn here. And if you'd like to help us out with our AI and dissemination of the stream campaign, please hit that like, unlike, dare to throw caution to the wind by sharing, or just making sure that you're still subscribed to the channel. And I want to thank you for your ultimate and baseline level support here on Black Spring with Autumn. And we'll be right back right after this. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and say salute to everybody in the stream. But before I do that, I want to read a couple comments here. And well, actually, these are just Callie Unknown says magic. I know what you're on about. Magic Chinois printing press. How long have we been affected by those wonderful inventions? How long? How far back would you have to go back? It's like I said, a miracle. Nobody. This is not promising. This is not. I have no idea. I think people are going to, based on what that final candidate list looks like, the official one. I guess, people will just become more frustrated or just more, more indifferent about it, or they just throw the towel in. So I'm going to scroll up and say salute to everyone in the stream. And Tyrant Spain TDOA, I thank you so much for coming in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. And we had Nick Smith to come in. DJ Vision Barnett, thank you so much for coming in. And who else do we have here? Dr. Fish. Dr. Fish, it's been a lifetime. Nice to see you. And of course, Callie Unknown. AZ Infidel, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. AZ Infidel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Latin Patriot, thank you so much for coming in. It's nice to see you. Had a great big hello from you. Thank you so much for coming in. Wow, that is some avatar. Hey, we have 41 flavors, and now we have it looks like an adult doll from the past. Okay, who else do we have here? Old Head Juice. It's been a lifetime, Old Head Juice. You've been holding out on us. So unless you've been working on somebody's campaign, Old Head Juice, it's been a lifetime since we've seen you around here. Really appreciate it. And I want to thank my friends that might be over on Twitch. If you're over on Twitch, thank you so much. So, like I said, go ahead and anticipate that we'll start to ramp up some of the these other platforms, so that I don't get too Mickey Mouse or too the self-censoring is more than annoying, and it's very cumbersome to try to maintain that in order to keep me out of the sweat box, keep me out of the gulag. So, it's, you look around and, oh gosh, where is everybody? So AZ Infidel has a comment here. He says, Callie, they found out that the first two, I'm going to let you guys read those because that might get me into the sweat box right now. And I'm trying to stay out of there. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for coming in on our 41 flavors, which is a little bit of a misnomer. So I can see, this is what I'm talking about. Do the process, whether it be the petitions or whatnot. It seems like this state keeps coming up with ways to make this process quite messy. And nobody ever really gets to the bottom of anything. Nobody ever just, they'll reject your applications or whatnot, or you'll not end up being on the ballot or whatever. Or you'll just be like King Newsom and he just does whatever he wants to do. So I really appreciate it for you guys coming in on the 41 flavors. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So we're going to be closing out this stream in under 60. I didn't call it real under, but test. We did go over quite a few things here. So we'll see what happens with this process, and we'll see how many people we have by Wednesday. We'll see if we have less than 41 flavors by that time, or maybe we'll pick up some more. Who knows? Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our show on this Sunday/Monday morning. And Nick Smith, thank you. Thank you so much, Nick Smith. I really appreciate it. And you guys have a great start to the week. And I'm a little bit laggy on this end. And according to me right now, it appears that I'm frozen. I don't know if I'm frozen on your end, but I'm going to be closing out this stream. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Do I have another comment here? Thank you, Nick Smith. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Callie Unknown. And feel better. Yeah. All right, guys.